The recent release of new court documents in the Jeffrey Epstein files investigation has once again ignited global attention, raising serious questions about power, secrecy, accountability, and the extent of networks that operated behind closed doors for years. As previously sealed records are unsealed and made available to the public, the world is witnessing a deeper look into allegations, testimonies, depositions, and communications that were once hidden from view. These documents, connected to the late financier Jeffrey Epstein, shed further light on the complex web of relationships he maintained with influential individuals across politics, business, academia, and entertainment. Epstein, who was arrested in 2019 on federal sex trafficking charges and later died in a Manhattan jail cell, has remained at the center of intense public scrutiny, with many believing that the full truth about his activities and connections has yet to be revealed. The newly released materials are part of ongoing legal proceedings tied to civil lawsuits and defamation cases, including those involving Epstein's longtime associate Ghislaine Maxwell, who was convicted in 2021 on charges related to sex trafficking minors. Maxwell's trial and conviction marked a significant milestone in the broader investigation, yet many observers argue that accountability has not fully extended to others who may have been involved or aware of the alleged misconduct. The documents reportedly include depositions from victims, internal communications, flight logs, and references to individuals who were part of Epstein's social and professional circles. While not all named individuals are accused of wrongdoing, the public disclosure of names has fueled intense media coverage and public debate. Among those whose past associations with Epstein have drawn attention are prominent figures such as Bill Clinton and Prince Andrew, both of whom have previously addressed their connections to Epstein. Prince Andrew, in particular, faced significant legal and reputational consequences, including a civil lawsuit brought by Virginia Giuffre, which was later settled out of court without an admission of liability. The release of additional documents has reignited discussion about how powerful individuals were able to maintain relationships with Epstein even after his earlier conviction in 2008, when he reached a controversial plea deal in Florida that allowed him to avoid federal prosecution and serve a limited sentence. That 2008 agreement, negotiated by then U.S. Attorney Alexander Acosta, has been widely criticized as overly lenient and emblematic of a justice system that treats the wealthy and connected differently. Critics argue that systemic failures enabled Epstein to continue his activities for years, potentially harming more victims. The newly unsealed documents are seen by many as a step toward greater transparency, offering insight into how investigations were handled, how complaints were processed, and how influence may have shaped outcomes. For victims and their advocates, the release represents more than just headlines. It is part of a long and painful journey toward acknowledgement and justice. Survivors have consistently emphasized the importance of public awareness, stating that secrecy allowed abuse to flourish unchecked. The broader context of the Epstein case also touches on issues of institutional accountability. Financial institutions, universities, and charitable organizations that maintain ties with Epstein have faced scrutiny regarding their due diligence practices. Reports over the years have examined how Epstein continued to move in elite circles despite prior allegations and convictions. The unsealed court documents may further clarify who knew what and when. However, legal experts caution that the presence of a name in court filings does not equate to criminal liability. Court records often contain references that reflect testimony or associations rather than proven wrongdoing, and due process remains a cornerstone of the justice system. The renewed focus on these files underscores a larger societal reckoning with abuses of power. High-profile cases in recent years have reshaped public expectations about transparency and accountability, and the Epstein investigation remains a symbol of how wealth and influence can intersect with allegations of exploitation. Media organizations worldwide are analyzing the newly available materials, while legal analysts dissect their implications. Questions continue about whether additional charges could emerge, whether ongoing civil litigation may reveal further details, and whether investigative bodies will pursue new leads prompted by the disclosures. At the same time, the public conversation has been shaped by widespread speculation, conspiracy theories, and misinformation. Epstein's death in custody in 2019 was officially ruled a suicide by the New York City Medical Examiner, yet doubts expressed by segments of the public have persisted. The release of court documents does not necessarily resolve these suspicions, but it does add to the documentary record that journalists and researchers can examine. Transparency advocates argue that sunlight is essential in restoring public trust, particularly in cases involving powerful individuals. For the victims, the release of these documents can be both validating and re-traumatizing. Seeing names and events discussed in formal legal language may confirm long-held claims, yet it also reopens painful memories. Advocacy groups stress the importance of centering survivors in any public discussion and avoiding sensationalism. The legal system's slow pace, combined with the high-profile nature of the case, has meant that developments unfold over years rather than weeks, keeping the story in the public eye long after initial headlines fade. In conclusion, the release of new court documents in the Jeffrey Epstein files investigation marks another significant chapter in a case that has already had far-reaching legal, political, and cultural consequences. While the documents may clarify certain aspects of Epstein's operations and associations, they also highlight the complexities of prosecuting crimes involving influential networks. The global attention surrounding these disclosures reflects a broader demand for accountability and systemic reform. As legal proceedings continue and additional information potentially comes to light, the Epstein case remains a powerful reminder of the need for vigilance, transparency, and justice in the face of alleged abuse and exploitation.